Nano Machine. By Hanjung Weolya. Chapter 47, I Will Crush Them All, Part 1.
The poison killed its target slowly without them knowing. The red dot was the symptom that showed when the person was poisoned. Chun Yowon bit his lips. Mother. His mother, Lady Hua, was killed by the same poison and Yowon couldn't forget the fact. He had learned from the pain of having his loved one die. How can he be poisoned? The symptoms seemed to be severe. Lady Hua had those dots a few months before she died, and Bakki had the same dots. That only appears after long exposure. It was weird for Bakki to have been exposed to the poison for a long time. Chun Jongsum. Yowon then remembered Jongsum, who was smiling at Bakki. That was why Yowon had to check Bakki's video in the first place. Bakki was the only one who defeated the prince within the group. It was likely that Chun Jongsum was angry and embarrassed. However, as far as Yowon knew, one needed to be exposed to the poison through years of dosage. He was either poisoned before he entered the academy or Chun Jongsum used a heavy dose. It was likely that the latter was what was happening. The former was also possible, but Chun Yowon leaned toward the latter. Bastard. To Yowon, poison was frowned upon since it killed his mother. He knew he didn't have to do anything with the problem between Bakki and Chun Jongsum, but seeing the same poison being used made him furious. He will try to do the same against others with the poison. I can't say he's doing anything wrong in the demonic cult academy, but I can't let him do that. Chun Yowon then decided to destroy Chun Jongsum's evil plans. At the training ground, a duel was going on. One person was an instructor and the other was 5th Cadet Chun Yuchan. He's beyond the level of the other cadets too. Instructor Hong Dui was astonished. The fight was a close match since both of them were at the level of Master Warriors. I can't defeat him with the 7 Demon Sword only. The 7 Demon Sword was being countered. It wasn't a perfect counter like what Chun Yowon did, but it was still being countered. He's also a genius like those two. They didn't need to duel anymore. Chun Yuchan already had enough power and knowledge regarding the skill. Hong Dui took a few steps back and raised his hand to stop. Chun Yuchan smiled back. This is enough. Meaning? Here's the tag. Hong Dui then took the tag and gave it to Chun Yuchan. Haha. I'm a group leader now. Yes, congratulations. I wish you luck. Thank you, instructor. Chun Yuchan bowed. After he saw Hong Dui return to the building, he grinned. There's one. Who should I go for next? It was now close to dinner time. The cafeteria was crowded with cadets who were busy eating. They were all smiling as their internal energy had increased greatly from absorbing the Black Dragon Ball. But those cadets who had not achieved the 30 years worth of energy were gloomy, since having that much was the basic requirement to learn the 7 Demon Sword. That's when everyone turned to the person walking in. It was the 18th cadet, Bakki. He was alone, unlike the other group leader-worthy cadets. He took a seat in an empty corner and began to eat. Someone then sat down in front of him. Bakki did not look up. Hey, 18th cadet. Bakki then raised his face. It was Chun Kungwon, the prince from the Sword Clan. What is it? I watched your duel. Bakki placed his chopsticks on the bowl and glared at Chun Kungwon. How dare he? Chun Kungwon did not like Bakki's attitude. Most cadets were always polite toward him since he was still a prince, but Bakki wasn't like that. I am eating. What do you want? Bakki was curt. Chun Kungwon became angrier, but he kept his calm. Humph. I noticed you were at the master level. Bakki was appalled. It seemed like he had seen the chi too. This meant that Chun Kungwon was also a master. I like your skill. I think you want to be a group leader, but don't you want to go up higher? Bakki sighed as he realized Chun Kungwon's intentions. He was offering him to join his group. Bakki then began to eat. Chun Kungwon frowned, but he wasn't the type to show his anger in front of everyone else. Well, you think about it. Chun Kungwon left and Bakki focused on the food. This was the second time already. When he was on his way to the training room, Chun Yuchan had already come up to him, offering a spot in his group. Bakki refused since he wasn't interested in joining the prince's groups. All he wanted was to become strong. He kept eating while he was irritated until someone sat in front of him again. "I'm sorry, but can we talk?" Again? Baki sighed. If he had known that this would happen, he would not have challenged instructor in front of everyone else. He spat at the cadet. "Not interested. Get lost." The cadet moaned. It was Chun Yo-won. Chapter 48, I Will Crush Them All Part 2. There were 3 ways to find other cadets in the academy. One was to hope to meet them by coincidence, but it became much harder after the private training rooms had been opened. The second was to go to their room, but it wasn't a good way since many of the students would be asleep. The last way was to find them at the cafeteria. Chun Yo-won took the third way and found Baki eating alone. Before he got there, someone walked up to him first. "Chun Kang-won?" It was Chun Kang-won, the prince of the Sword Clan. Nano, cut out all the noise except for the conversation between those two. "Yes, master." Chun Yo-won then heard Kang-won and Baki's conversation. What was interesting was that Kang-won wanted to recruit Baki, who was powerful enough to be a group leader. It wasn't surprising that Kang-won would want a powerful warrior like Baki, but there was no way Baki would join a group when he himself could be a leader. Chun Yo-won then took a seat. It didn't matter as he was here to let him know about the poison. Yo-won then looked at Baki's neck. His neck? His neck had regained color and the red dots were gone. Baki answered, not interested. "Get lost." Chun Yo-won then began thinking about how should he explain everything. He didn't know what to tell Baki when the red dots were gone. However, he couldn't let Baki die from the poison. "If we don't talk now, you might die." What? It wasn't his intention, but Baki interpreted this as a threat. He glared at Yo-won. "You are more arrogant than the other princes. Do you think you can get group members like that? You misunderstood." "What? You just threatened me." "I understood you perfectly fine." Baki was almost trying to fight him. Yo-won shook his head. "I'm not saying that. Hear me out. You have been poisoned." "Poison? What the hell do you mean?" Baki became dumbfounded. "I saw your fight and saw the red dots on your neck. Your face also became pale. You have been poisoned with a special kind of poison." Baki frowned. There was no way he would not notice being poisoned when he was a master-level warrior. Poison? That's impossible. He had never found any type of poison while meditating. Ever since he was appointed to the group, he had been wary of Chun Jong-sum. He even avoided coming into contact with the prince. And why is he warning me of this? Baki then became curious about Chun Yo-won's intentions. "I'm sorry I misunderstood you, but there is no way that I would have missed detecting the poison." Baki apologized for his mistake. It seemed like he was very truthful to his feelings. What? Chun Yo-won was also surprised. He and Lady Hua had no internal energy, so he didn't know that one could sense poison by meditating. Meditating allows one to detect the poison? But that symptom was surely because of the poison. If what Baki said was right, then he wasn't poisoned. As Chun Yo-won thought, he saw someone entering the cafeteria. It was Baek Jongmeng, the doctor of the academy. "Dr. Baek?" Chun Yo-won then decided to ask the doctor. "Then why don't we check with the doctor? It's better to be safe than sorry, right?" Yeah. It was reasonable, but it felt like Yo-won was doing what he wanted. Baki returned his dishes and went to Baek Jongmeng along with Yo-won. Dinner. Baek Jongmeng was getting the food while whistling. "Dr. Baek." Huh? Baek Jongmeng turned and saw Chun Yo-won. "Oh, long time no see." Or is it? Anyway. Did you eat?" "No, sir." "Then let's eat." "I don't want to eat together though. I want to tell you something too later." Baek Jongmeng wanted to thank Yo-won. After he left, he had gotten many patients. They weren't all because of Yo-won, but Jongmeng loved being busy. Yo-won shook his head. "I'm sorry, but can you check up on him before that?" Huh? Jongmeng turned to Baki, who was standing next to Yo-won. 18th Cadet, Baki. "Sir." "Oh yeah. Nice to meet you. I'm Baek Jongmeng. Did you get hurt?" Baek Jongmeng had never seen Bakgi. Although his foot was pierced by sword chi, he didn't go see the doctor. I think he's been poisoned. What? Poison? Jongmeng's expression turned serious. He didn't think that he'd have a poisoned patient in the academy. Oh, they are here, I guess. He then realized that Chun Jongsum and the other members were from the Poison clan. I can't do it here. Let's go back to the medical room. Jongmeng then returned the food he had gotten and went back to his medical room. When they reached the second floor, Chun Yowan was confused by the number of guards. There weren't that many before. All these guards were here and teacher got past all of them? That didn't seem likely. He then realized that none of the instructors, including the chief, were curious about his butterfly blade dance. I see, so they must have known. Chun Yowan then followed Jongmeng into the room. Jongmeng let Bakgi have a seat and began checking his various blood points. This is strange. Is it dangerous? Bakgi was concerned, so he carefully asked his question. No, your pulse is fine. Then am I okay? Bakgi asked with relief, but Jongmeng then said, Did you try meditating? Yes, always. I didn't sense any poison. I can't find anything from just feeling the pulse and blood points. Yowan then interrupted, his eyes turned red and his face became pale. His neck also had red dots. What? Bakgi was shocked. How did he see that? He was surprised that Yowan had seen all those details at such a distance. I think it's the poison that kills the target slowly. Yowan offered his conjecture and Jongmeng exclaimed, right. How did you know that? Chun Yowan was right about the poison symptoms. Yowan answered, my mother was killed by that poison. Oh. I'm sorry. Jongmeng bowed. He then remembered seeing his teacher taking the medicine to use it as an antidote for that poison a long time ago. So, that's why? Bakgi also became apologetic. He was suspicious of Yowan trying to help, but hearing this made him understand. Well, you can't find that poison through meditating or just checking the pulse. What? Hold on. Jongmeng then went to his cabinet and brought something out. He then began mixing the medicines and fired it up. The smoke began to rise. Breath with your mouth to take the smoke in. Mouth? Yeah, a big one. Okay. Bakgi then took in the smoke and began coughing roughly. He began to turn pale and the red dots popped up around his neck. Ugh. He fell down on the ground and kept on coughing. Jongmeng put out the fire and then Bakgi got up with a pale face. It is the poison. What, but how? He couldn't understand how he had been poisoned. But I was fine when I meditated and I didn't make any contact. I always ate alone too. This was why Bakgi ate alone. It was to defend himself from Chun Jongsum, so he couldn't do anything to him. Well, this one is a bit different. What? This one shows the effect when it's inside your lung or stomach. Lung? You can consume it through food, but you can also be poisoned by breathing it in while you sleep. And the poison is so little that you won't notice it when you're asleep. Do you share a room with someone who might be using the poison? Bakgi then glared with reddened eyes and shuddered in anger. Chun Jongsum, you bastard! Chapter 49, I Will Crush Them All, Part 3. Bakgi was already at the level of a master when he entered the academy. He quickly overpowered Chun Jongsum, who threatened the other group members on the first day of the academy. Chun Jongsum warned him when he lost. You enjoy your victory now. The claw of the Poison clan is like good wine. It gets deeper as time goes on. Therefore, Bakgi always watched out for any signs of a poison attack, but he still got poisoned in the end. Baek Jongmeng brought out more medicine to take out the poison. Chun Yowan then asked the doctor, how bad is it for him? Jongmeng smiled. He's okay. Luckily, we detected it early. He'll heal after a week of antidotes. But isn't it severe if he has the red dots? He remembered Baek Jongwa's explanation to him regarding the poison. He said that since the red dots covered her entire body, Lady Hua had no way to survive. Oh, that happened because I got it through his lungs. Lung? Yeah, it's to check if he's been poisoned. If he shows the signs of being poisoned without it, then it is too late. Yoan then remembered that Ho Jinchang pressed on Baki's chest during the duel. Oh, so that's what triggered the symptom. So do you need that smoke to check it? Not really. If your lungs get damaged, the poison might go into the wound and show the symptoms also. Oh, I see. So that's why? Yoan then realized why Baki showed the symptoms earlier. Jiameng quickly boiled the medicine. Baki was still infuriated from the fact that he had been poisoned. Here, drink up. Thank you. Baki drank the medicine and Jiameng said, You must be angry, but aren't you still lucky? Yes? Thanks to the 7th cadet, it wasn't too late. If it was, then you really would have died. Oh. Baki realized he had not shown his gratitude to his lifesaver. Baki got up and bowed to Chun Yoan. Em Sore. Thank you for saving my life. I really am thankful. Chun Yoan waved it off. Don't thank me too much. I don't want to see anyone dying from that disgusting poison. And I was looking for the culprit behind it. Chun Yoan's last words showed that he was furious. It was deep hatred that came from his vengeance. Baki was at a loss for words. He had expected it, but Yoan's hatred was beyond his imagination. Jiameng then opened the curtain of the bed and spoke to Baki. How about you rest here in the medical room today? Huh? You will heal in 7 days, but if you go back to your room, you will be targeted by the poison again. Baki frowned. He'll poison me again? If it wasn't for Baek Jiameng, Baki was going to go to Chun Jongsum and unleash his vengeance. But there was a chance that Chun Jongsum would poison him again when he was asleep. Damn it! It was irritating. Chun Yoan agreed, yeah, stay here like the doctor said. I know how you feel, but you must heal first. Ugh. Leave Chun Jongsum to me. What? Baki became shocked. Baek Jiameng hesitated as he asked Yoan, what are you trying to do? I think I need a word with him. A word? However, seeing Yoan's eyes filled with hatred didn't seem like he was just going to exchange some words with the prince. Jiameng sighed. I heard rumors that you've become strong, but can you handle ones that use poison? Fighting against poison users wasn't an easy thing, even for experienced martial artists. Even the leaders of the 6 clans said the poison clan was the hardest to deal with. Thank you for your concern, but I'll be okay. Yoan then began walking out and stopped. He then spoke to himself before going out. If that is true, then I will send him next to your bed. What? It seemed like he was talking to someone. Jiameng and Baki exchanged glances and then heard an irritated person speak up. Humph. That damn peasant. It was Chun Yukiam who was also in the medical room. Hey peasant. The one you are looking for should be in the forest across the 5th building of the dorm. Chun Yukiam sent a telepathic message to Chun Yoan. It was information about Chun Jongsum's whereabouts after dinner. He told him this, but it was not for Yoan or Baki. Heh? Chun Jongsum hated Chun Yoan almost like Chun Yukiam himself. Chun Yukiam also hated the Poison clan more than any of the other 6 clans. You are that lunatic. I don't care who dies. He told Yoan the location, hoping it would kill either of the 2 or both of them. The sky had turned dark and the only place that had mountains around it was near the dorms. The building of the 5th dorm was where instructors stayed, so the cadets did not go to the forest across it. However, there was one who went there often. It was Chun Jongsum. He traveled to the mountain every night, collecting poisonous herbs. Poison of destruction. To learn this poison attack, one needed to poison himself and heal up countless times. This would allow one become the poisonous human, thus yielding hundreds of poisons inside the body, poisons so powerful that one could even melt chi. With the internal energy at the master level, I will be at the 5th level of the poison of destruction. The poison of destruction had a total of 9 levels, and the power went up exponentially beginning at the 5th level. Chun Jongsum was embarrassed when he lost to Baki and poisoned him in anger. He poisoned him every day and he saw the poison working today. It's a bit fast, but who will notice it? He had given a higher dosage, so the symptoms appeared faster than expected. However, there was no one in the academy who might know about the poison other than him and the members of the Poison clan. Baki, I will kill you myself before you die to poison. If he reached the 5th level, there was no need to wait for Baki to die to the poison. It made him excited. What's so exciting? What? Chun Jongsum became surprised and got up. It was a dark night, so he couldn't see the face. What? That voice doesn't sound like an instructor's. Chun Jongsum then uncovered the candle that he had to hide in the darkness. You? He saw the man's face. It was Chun Yowon who was glaring fiercely at him. What? Why is he here now? Chun Jongsum was shocked. Yowon spoke to him angrily. Is it fun playing around with poison? Chun Jongsum then realized Yowon was talking about using the poison on Baki. However, he wasn't sure if Yowon was talking about his mother or Baki. But it didn't matter as Yowon was certain that he had noticed something. What about it? Red dots on Baki. Did you think I wouldn't notice it? You? Oh. Chun Jongsum then began cackling. Kekekek. I see. That's how your dirty mother was. Before he could finish, Yowon charged in like lightning and crushed Jongsum's face with his fist. Ararg. He was thrown to the back like a cannonball. It was so powerful that he slammed into a large tree, half destroying it. Chun Jongsum's chin was turned weirdly to the left and all the teeth on his right side were either pulled or destroyed. Erg. Chun Jongsum didn't pass out from severe pain however and moaned. What? What is going on? He couldn't understand what was happening. He only remembered being struck in the face. Chun Yowon then came up with a demon-like face. It's only the start. Chapter 50, I Will Crush Them All Part 4. Blood spilled out of Chun Jongsum's mouth. His chin was twisted weirdly so he couldn't close his mouth. And based on how Chun Yowon was approaching him, it seemed like he was here to kill him, not caring about the rules of the academy. He must be bluffing. Chun Jongsum was afraid, but he denied to accept what he saw. Move. Move. He tried to pull himself up from the tree, but he couldn't move. You dare to talk about something you should not have. You know what it is? Yowon asked coldly while Chun Jongsum struggled to get out of the tree. Please. Move. His heart was pounding as Yowon got closer. He already knew that he couldn't fight Yowon with martial arts. And with forced effort, internal energy began to flow into him and his fingers began to move. Yowon was already upon him. He thinks I can't move yet. I'll surprise him. Chun Jongsum looked dumbfoundedly at Yowon intentionally. Yowon then spoke to Jongsum in front of him. You made a mistake on talking about mother with your dirty mouth. Yowon then tried to strike down on Jongsum's head and Jongsum jumped up, throwing his fist at Yowon's chest. Hikek. Sure, priest? He. Surprised? Chun Jongsum was excited, but he then became shocked. Yowon had grabbed his wrist. Damn it! Yowon then grabbed the fist and shook his head. Idiot! You should have just stayed down. Aarg. Yowon crushed the fist in his hand, shattering the bones into pieces. Chun Jongsum then thought he couldn't just stand there. Damn it! I have to kill him. It felt like he was going to be killed if he didn't kill him first. Chun Jongsum then moved the poison inside his body. The reason why he didn't use poison on Baki was because it might kill the target and he couldn't kill anyone in the academy. The strongest poison he had was the sulfur. It was so strong that it melted the skin and bones. Even the leader of the poison clan told him to never use it against the same cultists. I can't just die. Dethai. Chun Jongsum then reached out at Yowon's face with his left hand. Yowon then quickly took the proper steps to move back, but Chun Jongsum closed in. Yellow smoke came up to his face and chest, burning his skin. Arg. I got him. Chun Jongsum thought it was over. Since the poison was thrown at his face, it was certain that his face was going to melt and that he was going to die. However, something happened that shocked Chun Jongsum beyond reason. Sensing poisonous substance entering through the face and chest. Activating emergency defense mode. Detoxicating the poison and healing the damaged skin tissue. With Nano's voice, Yowon's face began healing back. Vous fratez Chun Jongsum was even terrified. Yowon's face that showed even the muscle below the skin was now healing up quickly like a monster.
Why you a monster?
He had never heard of or seen such regeneration from the poison effect. Chun Yowon then walked up to him again.
Chun Jongsum fell back.
Poison, poison, damn poison. Yes, you are from the poison clan, so you must want to use that. But you know what? I can't let you poison bastards live on.
Arf.
Chun Jongsum began crawling on the ground, trying to run back. Chun Yowon then ran up and kicked Chun Jongsum's chin. It made his chin to return to the same place to close his mouth, but the lower part his face was twisted at a weird angle.
Arg.
Chun Jongsum then spat his teeth out. Now, all his teeth were broken. Chun Jongsum sobbed as he looked at his broken teeth. He had never felt such pain and fear in his life. Chun Yowon didn't seem to care about rules, so there was only one thing left for Chun Jongsum to do.
Please. Don't kill me, eh?
Chun Jongsum banged his head on the floor. He didn't have any pride. Banging on the ground ripped his forehead apart and blood began to spill out. Chun Yowon then grabbed his chest and pulled the young man up.
Yeah.
Chun Jongsum moaned. He hoped that maybe Chun Yowon would let him live. Chun Yowon then spoke to him with a dark voice. You didn't let my mother live when she pleaded for her life. Chun Jongsum then realized that it was a mistake to use the same poison that killed Lady Hua. Yowon would never forgive him. Chun Jongsum's heart began to pound in fear.
And no. I should at least yell.
However, before Chun Jongsum could yell, Yowon pressed on his blood point. Jongsum couldn't even yell and he turned pale from the fear.
Did I me?
He loved the forest because people rarely came here, and now it was working against him. Did you use this hand to use that poison? Yowon then stepped on Jongsum's left hand and began crushing it. Jongsum's left hand got smashed. The pain was beyond what he could bear. Chun Jongsum sobbed from the pain and Yowon declared, I won't kill you today. I don't want to get expelled for killing trash like you.
Is he letting me live?
Chun Jongsum became hopeful, but that was false hope. Instead, you will beg for me to kill you. Let's start with the bones, shall we? And that was the start of Chun Jongsum's nightmare. Chapter 51, I Will Crush Them All, Part 5. After quite some time, Chun Jongsum began to regret using the poison on Bakgi.
Damn that poison!
Chun Jongsum had learned about the poison because of a certain visitor at his home when he was very young. A middle-aged woman who hid her face with a red veil contacted his mother, Lady Beck. Chun Jongsum overheard their conversation while he was studying herbs. How long will it take to see the result? Possibly a year. Good. Is there any way for one to notice it if they don't have internal energy?
There is no way.
Someone with 60 years worth of internal energy can burn the poison from the body while meditating, but without it, there is no way. Good. I will trust your words then.
So, where are you going to use the poison? I don't know. What do you think?
And the woman left. A year later, news of the Lord's seventh wife Lady Hua's passing spread across the entire demonic cult. At the time, Chun Jongsum's mother, Lady Beck, was also glad about the news since she hated Lady Hua too. But the excitement didn't last long. After it became apparent that Lady Hua's death was due to the poisoning, the Poison Clan and Lady Beck became the #1 suspect. If it wasn't for Demon Dr. Beck Zhang's claim that the poison could be acquired even if it wasn't for the Poison Clan, things would have gotten out of control. The Lord became furious and arrested every servant who served Lady Hua, but after finding out that the cook that had killed herself, they couldn't find the real culprit behind it all. They found out that the cook had met with some woman with a veil, but they couldn't find out exactly who it was. After Lady Hua's death, the Lord cut ties with every wife from the 6 clans. And as for the Poison Clan, leader of the house Beck O had to step down from his eldership. Beck O knew that the Lord suspected his family, so he couldn't even object, and he too was suspicious that the culprit might be his own daughter.
No, it's not me.
Lady Beck wanted to tell the truth to the Lord. But if things got out that the source of the poison came from her, that was the same thing as saying that her family was behind Lady Hua's death anyway. So she couldn't tell the truth. She deliberately sold the poison, not knowing who it would be used upon. Jongsum, my child. You must keep this secret between you and me. Or else, even you will be hated by your father. Lady Beck told Chun Jongsum to not say a word about it and soon passed away while suffering from the stress. Mother. Chun Jongsum became furious. The real culprit was hiding behind the 6 clans, and the fact that his mother died because of it only made him angrier.
No. It's not my mother. It's not.
However, he had no way to find out who the red-veiled lady was. So, Chun Jongsum decided to become the future lord and find who was behind the incident. He would then wipe out her entire family to avenge his mother. If it wasn't for that B*TCH, my mother would still be alive. Chun Jongsum blamed all of this on Lady Hua and thought to kill Chun Yowon, her son, instead. However, he was the one who was on the verge of death. All the bones in his body had been destroyed and he couldn't move. He despaired and was terrified of Chun Yowon. No amount of martial art training would allow him to defeat this monster. Your bones have all been crushed, so I should finish it then. Chun Yowon then began focusing energy in his hand, trying to finish it off by destroying the internal energy within Chun Jongsum. This was to ensure that Chun Jongsum would never try to hurt anyone without killing him.
W8. No.
Chun Jongsum, who almost had given up, began twisting madly.
NNNRGH.
Having all his bones broken and taking internal damage were two different things. With the latter, there was no way one could be a warrior anymore throughout his entire life.
Stay still.
Chun Yowon pressed on the blood points to make him stop moving.
NNNGH.
Chun Jongsum kept on trying to say something, so Chun Yowon allowed Jongsum to speak by pressing on the blood point again.
Argoa.
Chun Jongsum panted for few seconds. Yuash. Mosher, Vishkild, Nout, Bai, Mo, Tsron. His teeth were all gone and his chin was distorted, so it was hard to understand what he was saying. I don't know what he's saying. Nano, analyze it. Yes, master. Interpreting from the pronunciation and lip movements. Your mother was killed not by my clan. Nano told him with the correct pronunciation.
Huh? What are you saying?
Chun Yowon became shocked and Chun Jongsum sighed in relief. He was trying to tell the secret he had been keeping all along, trying to stop his internal energy from being destroyed. But there was another reason for this. Chun Jongsum thought that if this monster brought out the real culprit, then the monster would go after the culprit and kill her in the most painful way possible. The real person who killed your mother is one of the ladies in the 5 clans other than mine. One of the ladies in the other 5 clans? Chun Jongsum barely nodded. This was all he knew, but if Chun Yowon yearned for vengeance, then he was going to find out no matter what. So please, don't destroy my internal energy at least. Chun Yowon asked Jongsum with a suspicious look, so, how do you know this?
NNNGH?
How can I tell if you are telling the truth that the culprit is from one of the other clans? It was hard to believe that the Poison clan was innocent when his mother had died from the poison. Yowon thought that the Poison clan and Lady Beck were behind his mother's death all along. Jongsum then couldn't find the word to describe, but if he had to tell everything, then he had to say that his mother was the source of the poison. Nano, analyze his facial expression. Analyzing. Chun Yowon activated Nano's ability to find out the truth. Is it true that culprit is with the other 5 clans? Chun Jongsum nodded. This was true, so there was no need to hesitate. No change in muscle movement. Chance of lying, 5%. This meant that Jongsum was telling the truth. The truth was shocking, however, for Yowon had long thought that it was Poison clan who was behind his mother's death. Then, does the Poison clan? Lady Beck has nothing to do with my mother's death? At that question, Jongsum's eyes shook slightly. He didn't need to tell the truth about this, so he nodded. Nano's voice resounded in Yowon's ears. Detected change in facial expression and eyes. Chance of lying, 75%. This was much higher than when it was used on Yumpa. This meant that the Poison clan did have a part in Lady Hua's death. Yowon looked down at Jongsum coldly. I knew I couldn't trust your words. Aish not lying.
Shut up.
Chun Yowon then struck his underbelly. Chun Jongsum almost screamed from the pain coming up from his stomach, but he was put under silence by Yowon as he pressed on the blood point. Yowon punched again with the energy, destroying Jongsum's internal energy. All the energy within Jongsum's body began to dissipate. It was gone. My energy.
No.
At the medical room, Dr. Beck Jiangming did not go home and waited.
Should I prepare an antidote?
He was worried that Yowon went out full of anger. Even if he had gotten stronger, it could be dangerous if Chun Jongsum used his poisons. Yowon was the first cadet that Jiangming had become friends with, so he was worried that Yowon might get hurt. That's when he heard someone running up the stairs. Soon, he heard guards talking in alarmed voices to go ahead, and the door opened.
What? You?
Jiangming looked at Chun Yowon bursting in. He had someone on his shoulder who was hanging like a rag doll.
What's going on?
Do something about him first. Chun Yowon threw the man down on the bed. It was Chun Jongsum.
NNNRGH.
He had bubbles coming up from his mouth, almost dying. His entire face turned purple as if he had been poisoned. What have you done?
What is going on?
Jiangming was baffled, but he quickly moved over to start checking on Jongsum. And the bed next to it was where Chun Yukiam laid. He was dumbfounded. This bastard. He didn't think Yowon would really bring Jongsum next to his next bed, right on the verge of death.